Hey, what's up, sexy bitches? Welcome to this week's installment of the Weekly D. Today I have Lauren Kenealy on with me, and we talk about the way she manages to stretch herself across two big industries, the pole industry and the bodybuilding industry. This is a super interesting conversation to have because there aren't many people who are managing to do both, and she has a lot of cool stuff to tell us. So without further ado, this is the Weekly D. Because honey, if you ain't getting your D on the daily, you better at least get it once on the weekly.
If you're not getting any and you want some tea, then come and join Dan up on the Weekly D. It's the Weekly D.
Lauren, thank you for joining me on my podcast. I want to
Thanks
get
for having
started
me.
straight away with asking you some really interesting questions about your current prep that you're doing at the moment. And I've seen loads of your posts, so I'm really glad that I've got to talk to you at this point because this is your peak week, right? I mean, I don't know much about bodybuilding terminology, okay? So please don't question me on that. But yeah, this is the week running up to your competition, right?
Almost. So I am 3 weeks out. It was 3 weeks on Saturday. So we fly out in 2 weeks and then it will be peak week.
Wow. Oh, so this isn't even. So
So
what you're going
not
through
there
now
yet.
isn't even peak week. Oh my God, it looks like hell. It looks like you're going through hell. So that's amazing. So I only asked because I think I got confused because I have a few people who I know from the gym who are also on my page, and I think there's a competition in the UK this weekend, possibly, or something. So I think they're preparing
Yeah.
for that. Are there a lot of competitions that happen throughout the year, like in the
There
UK?
are loads. Yeah. There's so many. And there's loads of different federations as well. So the federation that I compete with is slightly different to the main ones that are in the UK.
Mm.
So I compete with WBFF, which is more fitness model style. So we have free posing. There's basically no requirements that everybody has to do. You can literally do whatever you want to do on stage.
Okay.
We have a lot more freedom with our bikinis. And for my category, because I compete in fitness, we have theme wear as well, which is like Victoria's Secret catwalk model stuff.
Yeah, I love
Um,
those. Oh my God, they're
so
so.
much
I always
fun.
see your posts when you post them all. These costumes, I mean, give me a rough ballpark figure. I mean, what are we talking? They must be thousands of pounds, no?
They are thousands, and you can obviously you can work to a budget,
Right.
but when you get up to like my level, because I'm a pro athlete and it's a world stage, it's a lot of money.
They're going out of their way. I mean,
It's
some of these
literally
costumes are.
insane.
Some of them are like gems within an inch of their life. There's just gems
Yeah.
everywhere, and they're just so amazing, like crazy.
The
So
only thing is with like the competition stuff, once you've got a bikini thing where it's so difficult to sell things on, so you just need to be prepared for how much money you're going to spend and potentially not get back.
oh, what people won't buy them afterwards for other competitions?
I mean, I have competed now a lot. Every single bikini and every single theme wear that I have ever worn is collecting dust in my back room. But I think
No.
everybody wants to have like their own unique thing when they go on stage and you put in so much effort into something. There's not a lot of people that want to like take something that's second hand, and it's made to measure you as well.
Oh, okay. So do you think that might, especially with something as so body orientated like bodybuilding, do you think like if someone's, I don't know, lats are slightly bigger than yours and they don't quite fit into the costume, whatever, is that going to affect whether they buy it or not? Or they can't just have it
Yeah,
amended, I guess.
you have to have like really similar measurements to someone. If you've got like a bikini or something that has been made for you and doesn't have like adjustable straps on the back, then obviously it's going to be a lot more difficult for someone who might be like 2 inches or an inch bigger than you. It's not going to fit them properly. But
Right.
yeah,
And for anyone who's listening to this and listening to this on playback, it's worth just mentioning, obviously, that bodybuilding isn't just your main thing. You do the bodybuilding side and you've got the pole side as well. So
yeah.
when you're on these 3 week run up to these and these are like world level competitions, do you ever have to be like, right, now pole is, I'm not doing any pole at all. It's literally pure focus on this. Do you ever have to do that?
Yes. So normally, so if I wasn't competing internationally and I was competing in the UK, that my peak week or the week before that, I would do very minimal pole stuff just because you can't always guarantee that you're not going to end up with bruises or friction burns, and obviously that ends up affecting what you look like underneath your tan. I'm really
Oh.
lucky in terms of I have a really good team behind me at the studio.
Hmm.
So I know that if I need classes covering and I ask my girls, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be able to do it for me. And my instructor, Becky's been amazing. Like these past couple of weeks, she's literally taught pretty much everything for me because I've just been like, I just need a minute. So yeah, I
So it's for
will.
the bruising. It's not for. I thought maybe it was because obviously you're going to be so tired, right? Because you're training,
Yeah.
you're on minimal calories, I assume. So I thought maybe it was just because you wouldn't have any energy to do it more than anything else. So it's not to do with that. It's because of the bruising.
Yeah, it's because of what it does to your skin. And like, don't get me wrong, like energy levels are really low, but they're not low enough for me to feel like, oh, I'm just not going to teach now because I feel like I need to conserve my energy to go to the gym and train.
Right.
Um, but I think that's like, it might be a little bit, not a misconception, but maybe a misunderstanding of like your body is such an amazing machine, and even though you have such a massive output, like my cardio at the minute is up to 60 minutes 6 days a week, 5 days resistance training, which is a lot for like
60
an
minutes,
average
how many
person.
times a week? How many
six
times?
days a week
60 minutes, 6 days. Are we talking full sprint running, or are we talking just list cardio, kind of like,
Yeah, so I'm on miss cardio.
so what
So
is that?
list
Okay.
is your lower
Okay.
and miss is moderate intensity. So my heart rate is probably around about 150, 160. But I don't run. I
Right.
never
Okay.
run because running it wants to use your muscle as an energy source rather than fat as an energy source.
Okay.
So I will stick to Stairmaster, elliptical. I very rarely go on a bike just because I find it so boring. But those kind of styles of cardio is what you want to be on rather than just sprinting for an hour.
So you find the bike boring? I find that funny because I find with the bike, like you can kind of sit there and just put like a good program on and just kind of like get into the program and just get cycling and just go. But I
Yeah.
see you on the Stairmaster like all the time. Honestly, you can stay on a Stairmaster for an hour?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God.
I've literally just switched it though because your body gets used to what you're doing. This
Right.
is such a clever machine that so if you like starting on a stairmaster, I would be starting on level 6 and my heart rate would go like this straight away. So right up, sky high, and then the more that you do it, the fitter you get, and the higher those levels have to go. So I was at the point where I was like on level 10, and like it feels like you are constantly going and running on it, and my
Yeah.
heart rate just wasn't going where it needs to be. So I've just switched it now to the cross trainer, which I can
Right.
do on a much lower level because my body's not used to that kind of movement again.
Isn't that funny? I find the
No,
Stairmaster so hard as well. The fact that you've gotten such a high level on it is crazy.
oh
You wouldn't
no,
think your body would even be able to adapt to that because walking up the stairs, because they're not even small stairs either. They're quite big, like step
yeah,
ups on Stairmasters. Yeah, God, I take my hat off to you because that is hard. And so, how do you find managing two very different not industries, sort of like sports and industries, I guess, because you're a
yeah,
professional in both. Like you're a professional athlete as a bodybuilder, but you're also a professional pole dancer. How
yeah.
do you ever find that certain things take a hit? Like, does your pole business take a hit whilst you're on peak week for bodybuilding, or does bodybuilding take a bit of a hit when you're trying to compete for pole or whatever? Do you ever find it's really hard to get the balance?
It is hard to get a balance sometimes. I think what I tend to do as well is put myself in a position where I'm not only competing in pole, but I'll take on bodybuilding as well. So I have a really big crossover, and it's something that I've not done this time because it's just so much of a stress. They complement each other really well in terms of strength and fitness, but when you get to this kind of level and you're this close to comp, something has to go. It needs to be one or the other. So in terms of pole training and stuff, I literally go in, I do my lesson plans, I get out, I'll teach my classes. Like my main focus right now is bodybuilding and gym work.
So you just go all in for that kind of short period of time, and then once it's over, is it like pole competitions where you have that sort of post comp come down? Is it like,
Yeah,
is it
you
horrible?
get, yeah, because you put so much on getting to stage or getting into your pole competition, and you have this massive build up the whole way through, and then suddenly it's gone, and it's like, oh my God, I've got another year till we do this now.
I
Like, what am I
know.
going to do with my life?
And would you say that that post comp kind of come down? Because obviously we talk a lot about how we get this with pole. Would you say it's worse for bodybuilding, or would you say it's maybe better?
I think it's harder with bodybuilding because it's not just the mental side of it is massive because you have to then go and see your body change.
Yeah.
And that is something that I really struggled with when I first started competing because no one talked about it. No one talked about the fact that you were going to put body fat on, which is something that you need. You cannot stay in that lean stage because it's unhealthy. You don't enjoy life. You are literally miserable being that lean, and like people always comment on these pictures and it's like, oh my God, you look amazing, and you get used to though that kind of like level of attention, and then suddenly when you go back to, and I say this with quotation marks, a normal kind of body, and you stop getting the amount of likes and attention, it's like, oh my God, I must look awful, and then that plays onto your mind as well.
Mm,
So it's kind of, you have to learn to adapt a lot more with the bodybuilding side of things. And I think because you have to, with pole competitions you can just stop and then that's it, and
yeah.
you don't have to carry on training. You can do what you want to do, you can have a break from it, whereas when you're coming out of bodybuilding you have to continue the training because you have to bring your body back down to a normal homeostasis level.
Mm,
So you're reversing your diet, you're reversing your cardio, you're reversing your training, so it becomes manageable again, so you
right.
can't just stop and switch off from it. It is a continuous thing.
It does look a hell of a lot more intense. I mean, I've done pole competitions before. I don't have to change my diet for it. I have to train hard, of course.
Yeah,
I might change my diet a little bit for it, maybe, but I'm not to the level that you're talking for bodybuilding, of course,
yeah,
because our industry, the focus is on the performance and the tricks, not the focus on what the body looks like. So, whereas for you, it's not only a focus on what your body looks like; it's a focus on how you look. It's a focus on, your costumes, your posing, and all these crazy other elements.
yeah.
So it must just be so much pressure. And do you find the pressure is even higher now that you're at a professional level?
Massively. I think once you get to this kind of standard and you start placing among the athletes that you've looked up to for like 6, 7 years, and suddenly you're on stage with them and you're competing with them and you're right next to them, and then you're at that level, it
Hmm.
becomes, you are seen as the same kind of status as them as they are. So you come from being like this novice competitor who's just doing it for a hobby and doing it because they enjoy it, to oh my God, like I'm on stage with these people that I've admired and fangirled over for all these years, and suddenly I'm there with them, and it's like
Yeah.
I need to retain this. There are no days where, especially when you're in prep, you don't have off days because there's always going to be someone on that stage that is working harder than you, and you can't afford to just not stick to your diet or not stick to your training.
Yeah, you're so disciplined. And I've seen you post about things like this before about being on stage with people that you have looked up to for years. And then I've clicked, you know how it is when you're on stories and you click on their page and you think, oh, okay, let's check out this person that she says is so amazing. These girls have got like hundreds of thousands, millions of followers.
Yeah,
These girls are insane.
yeah.
Has this taken them years to build that up, or have they done something that's just gotten them this amazing following? Like, how have they done this? Or are these like seasoned professionals? Have they been doing this for years and years?
Yeah, so years and years, most of the people that you see on stage with like the top class physiques have been training for 10 years or more.
Right,
It's
okay.
not, so the thing, people think that getting on stage is just a 10, 12, 16 week prep and that's what they're going to look like. And it takes so long to build muscle. You're lucky if you're gaining 1 pound of muscle in a year, especially for women. So when you look at these athletes, you have to remember that they have been doing this for a very long time, and you can
Right.
never compare yourself to your beginning of the start of your journey to like the end of somebody else's. So they've been doing it for a long time. They post really educational content. So if anyone wants fitness people to follow, Hattie Boydell is an amazing person, and she has like come through anorexia as well, and that's what actually got her into the gym. But you can go and
Wow.
follow her and find out about all of her story and stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
it's
amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
And have you, talking about she'd gotten through anorexia and stuff, have you ever suffered with any kind of body dysmorphia or anything like that, where you kind of have been really struggled with your body image?
Not in terms, I've never had like any eating disorders or anything like that extreme. I
Okay.
think the only thing that really stands out to me was because I've danced my whole life, and coming up through that kind of going from ballet, contemporary, modern, that kind of, they push that kind of thinness, thin, lean bodies,
Yeah.
stick, like very small, petite girls. That's what they want to see. And I kind of remember like the girls, so when I was younger, and like the older girls when we were doing shows and stuff, and then being in the back stage area, eating like cotton wool that was soaked in orange juice to fill them up, and that really sticks in my mind. And like, thank God I was in an
They
environment
were
and with a
what? They
family.
were eating cotton wool like soaked in orange juice.
Yeah, soaked in orange juice. That's what they were eating, so that because they didn't want to eat food because they'd been told by our dance teacher that they were fat, and that is what they were eating.
Oh my God, that's
And
just
I must have only been
crazy.
like, I was young, like 6 or 7, and I remember that happening backstage.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
just scary, really, to think. I mean, that kind of thing would just never happen now, would it?
Oh, would it not? You would
Well,
like to think that it
I'd
wouldn't,
hope not.
but
Oh my God. Oh yeah, maybe it does. I don't know. I mean, it's sad, really, isn't it, that the
yeah,
industry is
really
so like
sad.
that. I mean, this is actually a really interesting subject because the pole industry is very much now, even more so now than ever has been. I don't know if you've noticed, it's very much focused on body positivity.
Yeah,
Pole is for everybody, not just, thin bodies and stuff. How do you, it must be a really difficult bridge to kind of keep yourself on in terms of being body positive, but also promoting weight loss
yeah,
programs and
yeah.
stuff. Because, you know,
So, go on, finish
how
what you're
do
going to
you, no,
say.
I was just going to say, like, how do you manage to do that? And I've never, I'll ask you in a minute if you have ever received any hate on that, but I've never seen any hate on your way
Yeah.
because you do. I get the vibe that you very much promote the fact that this is if you want to, this is if you want to do it. If you're not comfortable in your body and you want some help with losing weight and you want to lose weight, then I will help you. But it's not a
Mhm.
you have to lose weight to look good kind of
Yeah.
vibe. So I've always gotten a good vibe off of you on that.
And
So
I don't even think it's the fact that we try and aim that at people that want to lose weight. It's just people that want to be healthy. And you don't have to be low body fat to be healthy. And I
mm,
think so. Our ethos at Body Culture, which is our gym, we are trying so hard to change the conception around gym culture. So normally you will go into a gym, you have no idea what you're doing, you have no idea about nutrition. You'll get a PT and they'll walk you around and they'll go, this is a leg hack squat, this is a lat pull down machine. You have no idea how to use anything. Then you're left to your own devices. So at Body Culture, we're trying to educate as much as we can. So we walk people through proper run throughs of programs. We do all the nutrition and all this. So when we come to like the body positivity thing, which is really important, gyms, pole studios have spaces for everybody. And I think that's really important for people to understand. You don't need to be stick thin. You don't need to be 18 years old. You can be you as you are, exercising for whatever that reason is for you. You don't need to lose weight to be in a gym. You don't need to want to change your body. And you can look a certain way now and still want to make improvements that don't include changing the way that you look.
mm,
Exercise is to be healthy. And I think that's the most important thing that people need to understand. Going to the gym and lifting weights, you will thank yourself when you are 60, 70 years old and you have a body that is strong and you're not suffering from brittle bones or your muscles deteriorating because you've worked so hard. And it's not even working hard, it's just moving and putting your body through something that is going to help you in the long run. And I think Paul does that as well.
I agree. I think body positivity it's a really difficult one for me. Growing up gay and in the gay scene, it's very, very toxic in terms of body positivity.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there was this old saying that people used to say, they would never say it now, but used to be like, you know, the pretty kind of like skinny, fit white gays would just be like, no fats, no femmes, no Asians was
It's
like the thing that you'd
insane.
hear them say. And it's just
What? Like,
crazy to
what?
think. And I remember seeing these, and this was very normal for me. Like, you know, people would be turned away. And you know, I'm not ashamed to admit that I used to also fall into that as well, because it
Yeah.
was just what I was around as a young
Yeah.
person. And on the gay scene, like everyone was going to the gym. So I was like, well, I should go to the gym too. And, you know, I should do. And now I go to the gym because I just feel like for men, pole is so back heavy and we don't really do much on our chest. So
Yeah.
I try to even my body out. But, you know, it's the gay scene for me was where that kind of started. So my want to always not be over a certain weight is not only because of the fact that for me, pole is a lot easier when I'm at a certain weight,
Yeah.
but also because I just grew up around it. I grew up around this, like you said about with the dancing, that was your background. So your background was dancing and everyone was thin and everyone wanted to be thinner. And it was the same for me. I grew up around very toxic environment with the gay community where everyone had to be body beautiful, and it's so better. It's so much better now, but it's still very much alive and well. How do you because you share a lot of before and afters, right? Because that's kind of part and parcel of what you do. Is most
Yeah.
people who are coming to you generally want to lose weight, am I correct?
Yeah. For the
So
most part. And it's they want education around food. So if you
yeah,
come and jump on one of our challenges, it's a challenge. So the before and after pictures that you will generally see on our social media are from people that have done 10-week challenges.
the challenges, okay.
Now, these challenges get difficult because you're on a challenge, but within that challenge, we are still trying to educate and show you how to make your life easier in the long run. So you never have to do a fad diet again because it's just part of your lifestyle. There are no good and bad foods, and you understand that everything is fine in moderation, and you learn how to track and all of these things. So yeah, the transformation pictures that you will see are generally from those kind of challenges.
Oh, hey, babes. Sorry to interrupt. It's just me, real quick. Do you ever have times where you're sat at home and you're thinking, oh, I wish my shoulder mount was stronger, or I wish I could shoulder mount, or I wish I could do an invert, or I wish I was able to do an INX? Well, let me help you. Come over and give my online strength and conditioning program a try. This is a program you can do from the comfort of your own home. All you need is a pole and a rocking attitude, and you'll be able to take class with me. We do 3 live classes every week, and you can catch up on hundreds of videos which are already on the site. So make sure you check out the Pole Destroyers. See you there. So in the competitions that you're at, you from what I'm like seeing as a spectator, I guess, I see the girls on stage and they're very much like performing. So they're, you know, on stage, they're showing their best. And I get this kind of like, look at me vibe. Don't look at her because look at me. Like I'm way better. Like, and it's that, you know, confidence. I know, I understand that's what you're supposed to do because you want to be the one that's noticed. And, you know, they're really trying to like show themselves at their best. And to an outsider, I guess you could say that kind of looks like maybe backstage it would be a bit like, oh, like horrible. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe it would be a bit off-putting.
Yeah,
You're saying it's not like that at all. So it's actually
absolutely
really
not.
friendly. And I saw on your Instagram stories that one of the girls had posted saying, "Oh, just getting my treats ready for the treat swap after the competition." So you all take treats and you You just swap them at the end or something? What is this
Yeah.
thing? I need to know.
So we all speak to each other, and there has literally never been a single bit of cattiness that I've experienced at all in the whole time that I've been competing, especially not when people are backstage. We're all supporting each other, messaging each other all the way through prep, making sure that everyone's okay, how is everything going. And yeah, so we're all swapping treats. So because we've got people that are literally all over the world, we bring in our favorite snacks and then we just swap them all backstage.
And once you're off the stage, is it just like a food fest? Is everyone just like stuffing their faces with as much food as they want?
Yeah, so it's a little bit different with World because World is split into two shows. So we have a morning show, which is basically the pre-judging, and then we come back in the evening, and that is more of like a showcase of everything. So after the second show, that's when we'll be able to eat our snacks and stuff. But in that little bit in the middle, we'll still have to be in condition and ready to go back on stage.
Right, okay. And you're all friends, so all of you are chatting and like, do you all talk like outside of the competitions or?
Yeah, we keep in contact.
That's pretty cool. So you've never experienced any cattiness or bitchiness within the industry.
Never,
Isn't
never.
that so
I
odd?
mean, yeah, I mean, I think in the pole industry, people are very vocal, and when something happens that they don't like, they are straight to social media, and everybody kind of jumps on the bandwagon. And I just don't feel like I've ever experienced anything like that in the bodybuilding side of things.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's because when you are getting on stage, everyone is going through the same thing and they know how hard it is to work there. You have to work to get on there. Now, when we are on stage, we fight to the death, and that is why you probably get the picture that everyone's like, "Oh, look at me," because you want to stand out, you want to be the one that the judges are looking at. But as soon as we're off stage, it's all hugs and pictures and TikTok dances.
Yeah, yeah. I love that the bodybuilding industry is like that. I like that you all get on like that because I don't know about you, but I don't get that vibe from the pole industry at all sometimes. It's
No,
very much separated and you've got different groups that don't like this group and this group don't want to go to these competitions and it's
yeah,
why
it gets a bit much, doesn't
it
it?
really does get a bit much. Have you been a victim to any of that?
Not personally. I kind of, not that I don't get involved, I sit on the sidelines and take it in. And I know people are going to be like, oh, well, saying nothing means that you're just as bad. And sometimes it's just better to just not get involved with things. Now, if we're talking like the whole, we have discussions about it in my studio. So if I'm not vocal about something on social media, I will have the discussion with my students or with my instructors. But I just sometimes social media is so
It
draining,
is.
and there is so much that goes on in terms of arguments and things changing constantly. I'm just like sometimes I'm just need to just sit back and not do anything.
I I talk about it a lot, and it probably sounds like I'm obsessed with it, but I just hate it in the sense that I wish it was better. I wish that people could
Yeah,
understand that it's okay to not like something, and it's okay just to walk
yeah,
away from it and just to
yeah.
scroll past it. It's like the
Just
before,
ignore it.
when you're posting before and after videos of people from, taking your challenges and stuff. It's okay for people to just scroll past it and be like, that's not for me. I'm going to scroll past it. It doesn't,
Yeah.
you,
I don't like that, but I'm just going to ignore it.
right. It's just like, do you know what? So many as well, and this is the thing I love the most. So many of the things that get said on the internet and the people that say it would never come up to your face at a competition and say it. No
No,
way. Oh, I'm going to be at
never.
Exotic Generation, right? And let me tell you, there'll be lots of people there who have said things about me, and none of them will say a thing to me because
No.
they don't have the guts to back it up. They're happy to say it online because they're behind a keyboard, and I get
Yeah.
it. Whereas I'm the type of person that if I'm there talking and they're there, I'll be like, oh, are you not going to say what you said online? Come on, say it. Like, don't be afraid. I actually would much rather than someone doing it online, I'd rather someone actually came to me and said, this is my issue with you, right?
Yeah.
It just seems so much more authentic because then we can have an actual conversation.
A conversation,
Right,
yeah.
because we're both just humans, right? And this is the issue that we have with online stuff. People just
Yeah.
like to take it for what they see, and if they're offended, they're really offended, and it's just horrible, isn't it?
It's just a lot.
It is a
And
lot.
I don't know why people feel the need to start arguments constantly. Like, the stuff that you post on the questions for pole vaults.
Mm.
And I go and read the comments and I'm like, I really want to say something, but I'm just not
It's
going to
not worth
bother.
it
Because you just
sometimes.
get dragged, don't you?
Yeah, especially with Polo's Tuesday topic. It's so funny because people are always like, oh, Dan just posts the Tuesday topics because he wants to get loads and loads of comments. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that you understand that that's what it's for. Thank God. Thank God that you understand. But it's like they think that, oh, obviously part of it is because they can be educational and it does help people
Yeah,
understand.
100%.
And it does help people have some, is anonymity the word? I think like where they
Yeah,
can say something. And if people really disagree with it, then thank God they never said it out loud themselves.
yeah.
But also, it's a business page. I sell stuff on there. Engagement on social media nowadays is shite. So yeah, if I can get 200 comments on something because we're having a great discussion about something, not only have we had a great discussion, but we've also helped boost my my
Algorithm.
algorithms and all the comments and likes. It's helped because it now means that maybe more of my posts are going to get boosted, which means that maybe more people will go to my shop. It's a business move, and don't get me wrong, it's sad when some people actually get very personal with each other, and that shit gets deleted anyway. But when people start coming for me, it makes me sad because I'm just like, babes, like this ain't personal. This is why it's anonymous,
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I just find it funny. People take social media so seriously, don't they?
So seriously, especially memes as well. It's like it's a meme page. Stop.
Hold on, wait, hold on. What did you first call it? Did you say memes?
Memes.
And then you corrected yourself and said memes. I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, I need to just check that she knows how to say memes.
I know, it's because me and Luke joke about it all the time and normally say memes.
Memes. Do you know?
So you're lucky I didn't say
It's
that.
really funny because do you remember when memes first became a thing and no one knew how to say it? Everyone was like, what is it? Is it a meme? Is it a mem? Because I used to say mem.
Mem.
That's why I
Mem.
laughed, because I
Yeah.
used to say mem.
I used to say it all the time. Oh,
That is so funny. So business, I want to talk to you about business because you run a few different businesses really, because you have the gym, you have your online coaching, and you have the studio.
Yeah.
Are they your three
Yeah.
main businesses, or do you have any other sideline hustles?
Patreon as well.
Patreon, of course. Oh, so
Yeah.
you're still doing Patreon? I didn't know if you'd taken it
Every
back.
now and again, so I stopped doing it, and then every now and again I'll just like post like little bits of like inspirational things or videos, or it depends if I've got time.
Yeah.
But it's like a couple of quid a month, so people know that it's not going to be updated like every single week with like loads of new content. So if they want to pay for it, they can. If they don't need
But
to.
that's the good thing about services like Patreon, is that you can update it as and when you want. And if it's, like you said, if
Yeah.
it's only a couple quid a month, people probably won't care that it's not regular. But it's a
Yeah.
nice, easy way to make a little bit of like passive income, isn't it? So what is
100%.
your main line of work? Is it the studio or is it the gym?
Studio is mine.
Right. So is the
Studio
gym
is my
Luke's?
main one. Studio, studio is mine. Gym is Luke's, but online coaching is my side of it.
Right.
But
Okay.
we're working together a lot in the gym. But yeah, it's hard work at the minute. We're in a massive turning point, in terms of changeover with business partners and stuff. So Luke is literally in the gym 24/7 at the minute. Like I hardly see him.
Oh, it's not just his gym.
No,
Oh, I thought it was owned purely by him. Oh, so there's two of them, is there?
yeah.
I see. Okay. And but you have no involvement with the ownership of the gym. Oh, okay, cool. You just get the benefit of a free membership, right?
Yeah.
And is that the gym where you do all your training for all your competitions? Does it have everything that you need for your comps?
Yeah, literally everything. but we're just trying to, like, at the minute we are systemizing everything. There is so much coming for the gym and body culture, like I can't even begin to tell you, but it's going to be magic.
Yeah, I'm really jealous actually because the way you, I follow Luke as well. For anyone listening to this, Luke is Lauren's other half, and I follow Luke and I see Luke post a lot about what the gym does and how it works. And that would be so ideal if it was close to where I live because we don't have any gyms like that here. We have
Yeah,
the generic, like you said, like a gym where you just walk in, they show you the equipment, and then you just use it, and unless you're having PT sessions, kind of thing. So yeah,
yeah,
we have that, but I like that, you said it's all about education. I think that would be so important. It's really funny, kind of a boring story, but interesting to know because I was one of those people that was sent to the gym. They kind of just gave me like when you have like an introductory plan, they kind of just show you the machine and say, yeah, do chest press and do this and do this and do this. So, okay. So I started doing it, hoped for the best. And it actually turns out that for years I was doing chest press and stuff wrong. So all my chest
yeah,
exercises, I wasn't engaging my chest properly. And I was always wondering why my shoulders keep getting injured. I was like, why do I keep injuring my shoulders at the gym? It was so annoying. It's because I was just doing it completely wrong. And
yeah.
it wasn't until I started having PT sessions that one of them was like, why do you do it with your arms like that? And I was like, that's just always the way I've done it. He's like, well, no, we need to change that. And now
Yeah.
it feels really weird because I spent years doing it wrong. And now I'm doing it right. I'm like, oh, my arms, they feel in the wrong position. I don't like it.
I know. And this is the thing though, like you wouldn't go to a dentist and be like, oh, just give me that drill, I'll take my own teeth out. So why
Right.
do you do it in a gym?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. If people have no idea like where to start, get PT sessions, let them show you exactly what you need to do. Because otherwise you will literally go in the gym every day for 3 years and you will never see any progress because you're not training to your maximum potential.
Yeah. And the businesses obviously take up a lot of your time because I
Yeah.
see you and Luke always working. Do you two ever get much personal time just to like take away from business? Like, what's your life work balance like?
Awful right now. Absolutely horrendous. I'm not even going to lie. And it
We
is
don't recommend
literally.
this, by the way, everyone. We're not recommending this lifestyle, but she's just being honest. So, yeah, why is it so bad? Is it because of the comp?
Um, it's just business life. When running a business is hard work, as you know, it takes up so much of your time. And I feel like I've got to a point now with my studio where it's can literally kind of run itself. So, in terms of everything that needs to be done, it's fine. Whereas the gym is still in the process of flourishment. So
Hmm.
there's still things that need to be done. We are working so hard. We've got an app coming. We're systemizing everything so that everything is literally just at the click of the button for everyone. I can't tell you too much until it's done because it's like a secret. But
Yeah.
um, there's just so much that we're building into it, and hopefully, what we're aiming to do is then to franchise it. So
Hmm.
as you're saying at the minute, like there's only gyms that are literally battery hen gyms, we call them. They fit as many people in as they can. Whereas if we can systemize everything and franchise it, then imagine body cultures and all of this knowledge up and down like the whole country.
Mm.
So yeah, that's why business is just because our business partner is kind of, I'm just going to say, taking a step back. Luke is literally doing everything. We're splitting it. But yeah, it's just hard work. Business is hard, but in the next year or so, hopefully it will calm down.
And is the studio 100% yours, or do you have a business partner for that as well?
No,
Oh,
studio
thank
is
God.
100% mine.
Yeah,
I would never go
never.
into business with anybody,
Do you know,
ever.
I've seen it before. I've seen studios that have, had business partners before. It just always ends in tears. I don't know if you know Pam McGee, actually. Pam McGee and Kim are probably the only two people I've ever seen manage to work
Yeah,
together for so long. Well, but like
yeah.
normally it ends in tears. I mean, like, I've just seen so many different scenarios where it always ends badly because one person will always do more work than the other. There's just
Yeah.
no way to keep it 100% equal. It's so hard.
And
Unless,
that has always been Luke.
right, yeah, because
Luke has always been, because it was his baby, it was his idea, it was his branding. and he's just worked himself into the ground with it because he's just had no help from anyone else.
But
But that's
also
another story.
though that's why I feel Luke gives off a very like future millionaire vibe to me, because he is very much a like, he wants to work so hard now so that he doesn't have to work in the future, and I love that
Yeah,
vibe. And
yeah,
and it's very difficult when you have a business with someone who doesn't have the same vibe, because it's like, ugh, we're not on the same page here. So, and what is, so I know that Luke's like that because Luke is very open about the fact that he's like, this is either going to kill me or make me a millionaire. I saw him post that, I think it was just yesterday. And I was just like, it's so funny because I can relate so much. But what about you? Would you say you're very business orientated, or is he more the business brain?
um, I am the business brain.
Oh, okay.
I'm the business brain. Um, so Luke is very good at putting all the ideas down on paper. This is what I want, but I am the one that says, well, this is how we're going to get there, kind
Hmm.
of thing, if that makes sense. But yeah, my kind of knowledge and everything coming from owning Lakita. Like Lakita's nearly 11 years old now. God, that makes me feel so old. But I had to I had no idea about business or anything when I started my studio. I just wanted to do pole. And then suddenly you've got accounts and you've got all this rent and all of these bills are coming out of your ears and you're like, oh my God, I have no idea what to do. And then getting people into the classes. So that knowledge of like advertising and branding and all of that has massively helped in terms of the
And
gym structure as well.
And just for anyone who's listening to this, Lakita is Lauren's studio, pole studio. How long have you had the studio for, did you say?
It will be 11 years in November.
11 years. Wow. And
Yeah,
when did you
11
start your pole
years.
journey? When did your pole journey actually start?
I started training with Jess at JLN in, God, we're going back like nearly 14 years, I think.
Oh my God, that's crazy, isn't it? Isn't
Yeah,
that so sad? What a sad story about
I
Jess.
know.
It's
So
how long
sad.
has that been since she passed?
Is it coming up to 2 years or
Yeah,
more?
it was during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so it must be
yeah,
about 2 years. It's just so sad. The pandemic, obviously, it ruined a lot of things for a lot of people, but I mean,
yeah.
losing a life must just be so horrible.
So
Um,
sad.
I want to talk to you about spirituality before we finish off our podcast, because you are a very spiritual person. Like, that's the vibe I get again off of social media, which is why I wanted to
Yeah.
talk to you about it, because I wanted to know, when did your spirituality journey start?
So it was probably when I started competing because I had to do a lot of work on my mindset and my inner self. And I find that I constantly have to bring myself back down and ground. And the only way that I could do that came from meditation. So before I actually started doing pole, I was quite a big fan of yoga in the first place. So that
Okay.
whole like kind of like breathing and like ritual movement and stuff. And then when I actually started to delve a little bit more into like my inner work, that's when the meditation came in and it just kind of spiraled from there. Meditation for me helps so much when I'm coming up to a comp because I'm able to visualize what I want the end result to be. And I feel like visualization is such a big part of what we do. And like vision boards and anything that is constantly giving you the image of where you want to be and where you want to go. And that's kind of how it started.
And where do you want to be? Where do you want to go?
I want to be world champion. So I am going to Vegas to win.
Yes.
And that has been my end goal since day dot. So my vision board is a crown and it's all like the bright lights. And that is for me at the minute, that is all I'm thinking about.
And when you achieve that goal, which you will, because you have
Yeah.
such determination, when you achieve that goal, whether it be this year, next year, 10 years' time, whenever, will you be happy at the end of it?
Yes.
Yeah. You're like, yes, I
100%.
will. I will force myself to be happy. And then do you have like I call it a 10-year plan or a 5-year plan. Do you have any sort of like when you do these vision boards, do you ever write anything like that down, like where you want to be in 5 years, where you want to be in 10 years? Do you do any of that?
Mm, I see. I used to think that having like a 5 year, 10-year plan was how I wanted to live. But I think since the pandemic, you never know what's coming now. You never know like what's kind of around the corner. And I think that
Right.
kind of threw me out with that. As long as I am happy and I'm content and my business is going well and I've got a roof over my head and food in my cupboard, that's all I need. And my family around me, my friends around me. So as long as that continues on that path, obviously it would be nice to have more money, especially in the current climate and stuff. But money is only something for me that is going to buy me time, and time is the most precious thing that you can have. So I think in the next 5 years, I just want more time. I want more
Yeah.
time.
Don't
Time
you
is rich,
find
and
talking about the money thing, don't you find that's also a really funny subject I hear people talk a lot about? People are like, oh, you know, people almost making you feel bad for wanting to make money. Have you ever had that? Have you seen that
yeah,
before? And I find
100%.
it, again, I just find it a really odd concept. So I'm just like, but yeah, I mean, of course, you don't need money to be happy, but you
No.
know, I'd rather deal with my depression on a cruise ship than at home, no? Do you know what I mean? It's like if
Exactly.
I'm going to be depressed, I want to be depressed with some money in the bank,
In the
honey.
sunshine.
Right. If I'm going to be miserable, I want to be miserable on a fucking beach with a cocktail in my hand, babes. Do you know what I mean? So I've always found it really, but also I find it a really odd concept that people try to shame others that, you know, want to make money or that have a focus on money. Because let's be honest, you have to have money to be able to buy things,
Yeah,
whether it's something as basic as food or a nice car or a nice
yeah,
house to live in.
yeah.
I find it a really odd concept. What about you? Do you have much of a focus on money or not really as much?
Like, I don't really have a focus on money, but yeah, I want money, but it's for the freedom that it brings, not
Correct.
because I want to buy designer handbags or anything like that. I mean, we all love like something designer, but it's not the most important thing in my life. It's just time, freedom, and time. Nobody wants to be working until they're 65, probably 70 by the time we come round to
Right.
retirement age. Nobody wants to be having to work in that long, slogging your guts out every day, 9 till 5, 6, 7 days a week because you have to earn money, because you have people to support, family to provide for. No one wants to do that.
No.
Everybody wants time and freedom to do the things that they enjoy, and money helps with that.
Yeah, 100%. I've always found it a bit of like an odd concept. I always find it just really, really weird. And also when I talk about money, I always say to people, the reason why I work so hard now and that I try to make as much money as I can now is because I'm also, and again, I'm intrigued to know if you agree, like I'm very conscious of the fact that my body will only be able to do so much of this for so long. And people are like, oh,
Yeah.
but there are people polling their 60s. I'm like, great for them. But they didn't start at my age,
My body is tired
yeah,
now.
I'm like, my body hurts now, babes. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so what is it going to feel like in 20 years' time? I don't know. Maybe it'll be to a point where I won't even be able to do pole, and I don't
I
know. So
know.
I like to, sounds terrible, probably not the most spiritualistic way to look at things or whatever, but I like to work on a worst case scenario, be like, right, well, let's say, for example, I've only got another 10 years in me. I need to prep. What am I going to do next? Do you ever think about things like that? Like, especially with bodybuilding. I mean, I guess you couldn't do that for another 30, 40 years. It must be so taxing on your body, no?
But the thing is, with bodybuilding, the best athletes are older because you get
Why?
more muscle maturity and you get more details and more refinement. Like the longer you train, the better you look in terms of muscle building and stuff.
How
So,
funny.
if you actually look at the older athletes, like the Olympians, if you go and look at the Olympia athletes, go on YouTube and find them. They are insane and they're all like 50s, 60s, like mega amazing athletes. Insane.
Wow. So, and can you also as well just clarify what category it is you do? Because there's lots of different categories, and I actually forgot to mention that when we talked about it. But what category is it you do of bodybuilding? Because there's like, I know for men there's like physique, and then there's like classic, which is more like big, big bodies. Like what are the categories for women, and which one do you do?
So there is bikini, fitness, wellness, figure, I think that's them all, but so I do fitness.
Fitness. Am I
So
correct in thinking bikini is more for the slimline look rather than the muscular look?
yeah, so with WBFF, they go for like curves. So they're looking for someone that's not got visible abs, but nice big glutes, nice big quads, but not visible detail anywhere.
Right,
So that
okay.
full voluptuous kind of look.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and when we get to fitness, it's a lot leaner. So we're looking for abs, we're looking for shoulders, glutes, quads. Everything has to be balanced, and it's a lot more definition. And then figure is even more conditioned than fitness and bigger.
Right.
And then wellness is out of proportion, upper and lower body. So looking a lot more quads and bum. So I think like Brazilian girls
Right, yeah,
kind of
yeah, that
wellness.
yeah, because when I see the Brazilian bodybuilders, the focus is all on their legs and their bum, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. And there's not then another category where it's more like the bodybuilding style, they're like the big muscles kind of thing for the women or not?
So for not for WBFF,
Okay.
but if you went to the IFBB, which is the Olympians, and then they have, I'm not sure what the category is called for the women, but they do figure. Maybe it's physique. I'm not sure, but yeah, there is one that is above figure. They stopped doing it for a while because the women were getting like so big, but I think they've recently brought it back.
Right, okay. And what made you choose to go with fitness? Like when you were doing it, did you start, is it one of these things where you kind of start bikini, then you do the next one, then you do the next one, or can you go in and be like, I'm just going to go straight into fitness?
Yeah, it depends on what your genetics are like already. So when I started, my coach put me in bikini, but when I got on stage, the judges actually moved me into fitness. Now, if
Ah,
you look back at my starting pictures, I don't have any legs at all. I am definitely bikini, but because I was so conditioned, I was more fitness.
right.
Um, so you will start off in one. For me, the body type I am now, I couldn't get bigger than I am now without help.
Okay.
So taking steroids,
Yeah.
which is obviously not, I don't want to get bigger, so I'm good where I am. So for me, naturally now, fitness is as far as I can go. Whereas some people, bikinis is only as far as they can go without extra help because they just don't have the body type, or they'd have to
Okay.
work 5, 6 years to build the muscle mass that they need to then move up into a category.
And the competitions that you do, are they all completely drug free? Do you have to do tests and stuff?
We don't have to do tests for WBFF. I actually don't think that there's a lot of competitions that do test people
Oh, okay.
unless you actually enter a competition that specifically says drug tested.
Right, okay. So does that not then open up the floodgates for people to cheat? And do you ever see people that you think they've definitely taken something?
And I think cheat is quite a strong word because even if you are taking steroids, you still have to work bloody hard to be able
Yeah,
to look the
true.
way that you do.
Good point.
But obviously, you have an advantage over someone that's not. Um, I don't think steroids are talked about enough in the industry. People are so uneducated around them, especially for females, that they'll just take them with no idea what the side effects are, no idea how it's going to affect them long term. You can generally tell when someone has been taking steroids for women because voice changes, gets a lot deeper, facial hair, the way the body looks is just different to how it would normally look.
Right.
But yeah, there are telltale signs when people are taking stuff.
I find so so it makes you grow facial hair. So why would they want to do that? Like, I guess that's just such an extreme like way to go to want to be that size. Do you find
Yeah.
that the industry can be quite toxic in the sense that it forces people to want to do things like this to their bodies because they're so desperate to do
A
well?
hundred
Like,
percent. I think not so much with like WBFF, but in terms of Olympia, which is like the bodybuilding kind of side of competitions, it's always every year people get on stage and I'm like, wow, people are so big now. It's always bigger, always got to be better. And every year, like there are so many people that are dying because they're having like heart failure or something is going wrong because they don't know what they're doing with it or they're just taking it to an extreme and it's pushing them like over the edge.
Yeah, I keep seeing this on loads of because for some reason, I don't know whether it's because I've got a few people that maybe do pole and bodybuilding, or I've got a few friends that I know that do bodybuilding and I like their content. So sometimes bodybuilding stuff comes up as my like suggested stuff, and it'll be like, oh, RIP, another one lost and stuff. I'm like, whoa, like,
Yeah,
I guess because it has so much of an effect on the heart. Is that what it is?
yeah.
So it's making people have
It's
heart attacks.
it's a strain on the body. Yeah.
It's just so sad. What is there anything in the industry that you think is going to come in at some point to try and help stop things like this, or is it something that you just don't think ever is going to be able to be stopped?
I don't think it's something that will ever be stopped, but I do think as federations they should be trying to educate. I mean, there are a lot more people that are starting to talk about it on like YouTube channels and stuff, people that are very open, but I don't think people know where to find the information that they need to be doing these things safely. And if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be touching it.
Can it be done safely?
Oh yeah, definitely can
Oh,
be
it
done
can. Oh,
safely. Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was like if you're taking steroids, like the risk is just there straight away. So you're saying if it's done properly, it can be done safely.
Can be done safely.
Oh, okay, I
Um,
see.
but yeah, you should always obviously have somebody supervising you that knows exactly what they're doing and not just taking it for fun, I guess.
We did segue a little bit because we were talking about
I
spirituality.
know, right?
I was like, how do we get
How
back
did
to
we
here?
get to
I know,
that?
how do we get back there? But the one thing that I always see you post is this like when your clock on your phone hits 11:11, you screenshot it and then you post it and you say, oh, I'm seeing, and then you were in the gym the other day and it said like 111 or something, and you're like, oh, I'm seeing all the ones. What does the
Yeah.
ones mean?
So 1111, they're all angel numbers. 1111 is synchronicity. So you are on the right path. You're exactly where you need to be. You are doing what you need to do. Like everything's coming into alignment. Um, but I mean, I think people take angel numbers and use them in different ways and different meanings. But for me, that is what that means. And I literally see it everywhere. Especially when I'm coming up to like big life events,
Yeah.
which for me right now is going to Worlds and going to Vegas.
So hopefully it's like,
Um,
so it's kind of like a good juju thing. It's like a good luck sort of sign.
yeah, it's just
Okay.
letting me know that I'm on the right path. I'm doing everything right.
What does your spiritual practice look like? Like, do you have an actual practice? Like, do you wake up and like do affirmations or anything like this? Like,
I don't have like a certain routine. I used to be very anal with that. Um, but for me, that kind of habit and ritual wasn't working. So I just wouldn't always have time to be able to get up and meditate and then eat. And so whoever's telling you that they are spending like half an hour every day in that, I just wouldn't believe. But that's another story. So I will meditate before I go to bed. Sometimes I will meditate in the morning, but it's not something that I do every single day. It's something that I used to do every single day, but not anymore. I do a lot of crystal healing. So I wear a lot of crystals, have them
yeah.
around my
And
house.
I've seen you post the crystals. What do you have to do with them? Like, do you literally just like, sounds stupid. Do you rub them on your body? Do you put them on your chest and then lay there and meditate or something? Or what do you do?
It's
I've seen crystal
literally,
dildos, by the way. So I saw,
yeah, there are
I think it
things.
was Marie for Pole. She posted that she'd bought a crystal dildo. So I was like, only Marie could get away with that. But yeah, so what do you actually do with the crystals? Do they have to go like on your body and rest on your body or something? Or
So it depends what you want to use them for. Crystals are basically energy, and they all have a different purpose. To help with things that you're going through in life, or helping you with meditation, or whatever it is. So you can meditate with them on you in like different chakras, so head, heart, root chakras, whatever it is, and they
Mhm.
all have different uses for stuff like that. You can carry them either in jewelry or like sleep with them under your pillow, but you have to set intentions with them. So there's no point in having like a good luck crystal, wearing it, but not telling it what you want from it. Like you have to kind of put your own energy into it, if that makes sense.
And obviously when you say tell it what you want from it, you mean sort of like when you're meditating, you're thinking about, you're not actually going,
Yeah.
hey babes, can you give me $1 million, please? So yeah, and are you doing that when you're telling the crystals kind of like what you want it to, bring your way? Are you doing that in your meditation practice? Are you just kind of like thinking about it when you're
Yeah.
sat there, or?
Yeah, so you can put it into meditation practices. You can literally just sit with it in your hands and keep thinking about what the question is or what you want from it over and over. Um, and then, like, when the full moon comes round, you want to be cleansing them as well. So you have to get rid of like any kind of bad energies. So if you are using like a black tourmaline and you're using it for protection or whatever it is to get negative kind of energy out of your house, the crystals will absorb that energy from you or from the area that's kind of around you. So you need to make sure that you regularly like kind of desensitizing them as well and getting rid of all that
And when you
negative
do that,
vibes.
what are you talking again? Do you have to do a certain thing with them, or is it just again thinking about it and then trying to clear it from your mind?
So there's loads of different ways that you can clear crystals. You can use the new moon and put them in the new moon's light outside. You
Okay.
can, if you've had like a really traumatic experience and used one to help you get over that, you're better burying them in the garden and just like letting them ground that
And just
way.
buy a new one.
You just leave it there for a little bit and then come back to it when you need it. Like crystals
Oh, I
have like
see.
a really weird way of disappearing and then reappearing when you need them. So I have thought that I've lost so many, and I've been like, where has that gone now? And they'll like literally turn up in the most random places. It's really
Mm.
bizarre.
So who got you in? Who got you? Yeah. So
It
it does.
sounds
It
like I'm
sounds
cookie,
crazy,
doesn't
doesn't
it?
it? It sounds a little bit crazy, but I kind of love it. And who got you into all this?
I kind of got myself into it.
Did you?
So yeah, I have like I don't know. I went on like a really weird path when my stepdad passed when I was like nearly 21. And I was
Oh.
always kind of brought up in like a religious household, and my mum used to go to church all the time, and she's still like very religious like that. And as soon as like I started losing people, I was like, why? Like how? How can an all-loving God that we've been told about allow these kinds of things to happen? And I just couldn't get my head around it. And I think that's when I kind of turned away from religion and started looking at energies, because I do still believe that there is something higher than we are, but not as we are told it is like in the media. So not as
Yeah.
like a god and these are the rules that you have to follow. For me it's like a source energy of where we all kind of stemmed from.
Do you ever think about, sorry, this is a bit of a morbid question. Do you ever
It's
think about
okay.
death? Like, are you scared of it?
um I don't want to die, but
No,
I don't,
same.
I don't, I don't think, I don't think it's something that I fear. But probably I don't fear it now because I'm not thinking about it. I'm not in a place where I'm ill. I think if I was ill and I knew that it was coming, I think I would be a lot more,
Look, yeah.
yeah, not like scared, but just it's the unknown, isn't it?
I was just about to say that. It's the fear
Yeah,
of the unknown for me because I'm just like, where do we go? Am I going to see my friends and family again?
yeah.
Am I gonna come back as someone else? Like, so I find that.
I see. I do believe in that kind of like reincarnation thing.
I do you?
Yeah,
Do you
definitely.
believe in the like sort of like the person you are now used to be something else? Like, what do you think you would have been in a previous life?
I think that I have definitely been here before. I am such like, do you know, like, do you ever get deja vu? I
Yeah,
get it
yeah.
all the time.
Oh,
And the
really?
kind of like intuition and like knowing what's coming before it happens, like stuff like that happens to me all the time. Sorry, I'm just grabbing my charger.
It's all right.
Um, so I do think that I have been here before. Like there's so many weird things happening at my studio right now, and it's gonna sound daft. There was someone. Well, I thought I was recording a video, right? So do you know when you're in the studio and you're recording your sessions so that you don't forget what you're doing for your lesson plans and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And I came back to my camera and I pressed play, and there was a voice in the background, and it sounded like someone saying, I really like it. And there was no music on, there was literally just me in the studio, and I was like, I'll have to find it, I'll send it to you so you can have a look at it. And I was like, what is going on? And ever since then, every time I've recorded something, the camera has completely moved and changed position, and it's in like a phone stand, so it can't move. And then one of my students, she does like Reiki healing, and she's tarot card reading, all that stuff. And she was like, she came in and I hadn't said anything to her about it, and nobody knew what had been going on, or the fact that like there's hoodies going missing and all kinds, really weird. And she came in and she was like, there's something going on in there. Do you know a man that used to ride a bike that was killed? And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, I can feel this energy. Like, there's somebody in the studio and he's had a motorbike accident. And I was like, that was my uncle. And there's no way that she could have known that.
That's
Absolutely
so
no
weird.
way.
Oh, yeah, I am. My sister-in-law, she goes to, because what is that called where people, it's not Reiki, it's where they speak to, you know, other people who are like dead, they're not here anymore. What's it called?
Like a clairvoyant kind of thing.
Clairvoyant, yeah. She goes to like a clairvoyant, and she'll talk to her, and it's one of those things, you know, when sometimes you're like, I don't know whether I believe it or not, but then how do they know these facts? Because some of the facts I think, okay, that actually I feel you could have just generically got, or you could have just generically said, and it would have applied to anybody.
Yeah.
But some of it's so specific, I'm like, that's a bit freaky. Like, that's weird. Like, how on earth?
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Well, sorry, we've gone on such a tangent, haven't we, really? But it's been amazing speaking to you. I want, before you go, just to tell everyone how they can find you on social media, how they can contact you, if they want to contact you about your plans that you do and things like this. So just give us like a big old list of ways they can get hold of you.
So probably the easiest way to contact me is through Instagram on my Lakita dance page, because that is easier to keep track of messages. So lakita.dance on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram on my personal profile at Lauren_Kenealy. Email info@lakitadance.co.uk if you'd prefer to contact me like that. And I don't really use Facebook anymore, but I am on there, Lauren Lakita. But...
Yeah, I have Facebook, but like, I post my Instagram stuff to my Facebook page sometimes, but generally I kind of just leave it. I don't even look and see if there's any comments on there. I don't know really why I post them to my Facebook page anymore. I may as well just leave it. But yeah, it's all Instagram, isn't it? So just remind me the Instagram again.
So lakita.dance and Lauren_Kenealy.
Cool, perfect. Well, if you're listening to this, go and check out Lauren, check out all of her pages. It's a really interesting thing as well to make sure you're following her stories, because she's always posting her prep and stuff on there. So definitely go and follow that, because I find it fascinating. I find it really fascinating watching what you go through. So yeah, best of luck for your competition.
Thank you.
I will speak to you next when you're world champion, I guess.
Amazing. I will be.
See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and whatever platform you're on, please make sure you give it a like and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you on our next episode. Until then, bye.
That was all the tea that you can get this week. Join me next time right here. It's the week.